What's good, guys? Let us know in chat if you can see this, how everything's going. What's good? How are you guys out there? Yo, this is like an actual just normal stream. I'm not even treating it like a podcast. All right. Yeah. So what's good, guys? What's good? Obviously, this is another episode of Augment. As you can see today, we don't actually have a guest because we wanted to keep the spotlight all to ourselves. No, honestly, we kind of had to reschedule and so postpone that. So we'll come out with something in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so it's just gonna be me and Scoriox today, which I'm actually excited for. We've been meaning to do something like this for quite some time and just share our thoughts. So it's gonna be a bit more of a general chat. There's a couple of topics we're prepared. And really you guys can just ask us any questions, anything you want. And we'll try and just share it. It's gonna be more of a general AMA type vibe. But yo, Scoriox, what's up, man?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. This has been long overdue for sure. I think there's a lot we want to talk about and get our voices out on, and it's time. It's about time we touched base with the community a bit more, because sometimes when we're so busy, we're doing all this stuff, we don't really get the chance to talk with the core people that made us who we are, really. And that includes everyone in this chat for tuning in every week and giving us their support. And we definitely just want to help out. So we're going to talk about some of our own stuff, some Illuvium stuff, and things like that during the episode. But towards the end, we'll definitely be getting as many questions as we can and just smashing them out. Obviously, keeping in mind, we don't have the answers for things inside the Illuvium team, regardless of what you might think. Wink, wink. You get the point. Keep it civil. You guys know what's up. All right. The first thing we'll start off with is, I just want to say big congrats to TSG for becoming a part of the Illuvium team. And for getting the role. He'd been speaking to me for a little bit about going for the role and things like that, and you could have seen a bit how stressed he was. He was very eager to get on board. But I'm glad they saw the potential, and I'm glad he's involved with it. And just for those of you guys in the audience that don't quite know, he's been helping out the content creators long before he got the job. He's been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. And in a way, he did prove himself, and he did show what he can do and what he wants to do with all of this. And then he put himself forward to work with the Illuvium team, and they said yes, pretty much. So, I mean, there's obviously more to the story then, and I'll ask TSG on that in a second. But just so you guys know, he's still doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you guys don't even see. So he's been a big help for sure, especially because sometimes you guys are like, oh, why don't you do Kieran interviews? Why don't you do Aaron interviews? They can be a little bit hard to communicate to sometimes because they're so busy and there's so much going on. But people like TSG and even Kyle before him and stuff do a lot behind the scenes to just make my life and Kieran and everyone's lives easier. So big thanks.
Nah, thanks. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. I won't lie to you guys in chat. Obviously, we kind of knew what topics we were going to say, and I kind of not forced them, but this was on the cards that we were going to talk about it. I kind of forced Scoriox to mention it because it'd be weird for me to kind of bring it up. So I appreciate that. But man. So like you said, what's that? 6 jobs. Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty sure more than that, to be honest. But man. So it was wild. Like I'll kind of share I'll actually share the story because I've had my meeting with Kieran now. Now that I'm on board, I'm actually I'll put it out there. I'm actually doing part-time this month because I do still have my job in real life and I'm transitioning out of that. So, just imagine, like, this is what I'm doing with part-time. I'll say that. Like, this is what I'm doing part-time. So imagine once it's full-time, it's going to be crazy. But, yeah, man. So, like you were mentioning, Scoriox, essentially, I've just been helping out with, like, it goes all the way back to when I first started all of this stuff with the governance, like, election interviews, right? That's where it actually all started. And it's funny because that's where my content started as well. Like, that was my 7th video. I started doing the nominations, and that's how I got to like build up. It sounds weird when you say it, and all right, this is just us two, so we'll speak a bit more casually. But that's how I kind of built up a network, and I wasn't thinking about it as building up a network. I was thinking like, how can I add value and just build relationships? That's it. I wasn't like, yo, how can I use these guys after, or was anything like that? And that's what I think is really important for anyone that's trying to get this going is. Man, networking is just being a good person and trying to add value when you can, and like good things happen back to you. Like, but don't do it with that expectation. But so it all started back then. And after the first time I did it, that's how I kind of got my foot in the door. The second time, the second election came around, and I was like, "Yo, Dick, that's when I started getting closer to Dick as well. I was like, yo, let's start planning this out. Send me these the list of nominees so I can be on top of it, be more efficient with these things. And that's how my relationship with Dick kind of started. And ever since then, yo, Crystal, thank you always. Like, I don't know why. Crystal's just throwing cash at us all the time. I appreciate it, Crystal. Yeah, so that's how the relationship with Dick started. And we started working governance, started doing some documents back on the back end. Just a whole bunch of stuff. And then the Twitch stuff started happening. I was like, yo, because Dick kind of had to take over the influencers, and he's not an influencer. So it's hard for him to kind of understand what we need and the things that we, and so I was like, yo, man, look, whatever you need, let me know. I'll help out. Again, I wasn't expecting, like, I wasn't doing this to get a job. I was like, yo, let me just do this shit, right? It's like, I want to try and build up, again, like add value and build up relationships with people that just like that are intelligent. Like, that's the thing that excites me the most about the space is like intelligent people in these discussions. So that all happened, and yeah, man, it's just been like grinding it out, doing like the Twitch graphics. Yo, I lost my mind when I made that because I made that myself, and I'm not a graphic designer at all. So I legit had like the template for the land sale thing that they put out, where it's like 72 million, and then I had my thing on the side, and I was like, all right, like the eyedropper, and I was like, yo, I want to get this color. Like, what font are they using? I was messaging Dick like, yo, what font do you guys use? Doing all of that stuff, and yeah, man, it was just all of that. Yo, Crystal is wild out here. And yeah, so I was just doing all of that, and then yeah, I forget what it was. Oh, I was locked down, man. I was locked down I had summer because I'm a teacher, so I had summer vacation. That was a month and a half. Then we had another month of lockdowns, and so I didn't work for 2.5 months. So I was going crazy, just pumping out content, and just helping out as much as I could, setting up like streaming, like the settings for some of the guys and shit. And I was just like, yo, Dick, I'm pumping all of this shit out. And I know we don't have an influencer manager. Let me do that. Like, just let me do that job. And I was pestering him. He's like, yeah, I'll talk to Kieran. Yo, I was pestering him, fam. Hence the whole the Kieran tweet about me being like a fucking liar. Because soon as I got the okay from Kieran, like, and Dick was like, yeah, Kieran's on board. We just need to like kind of sort out a meeting. Fam, every time, I won't even lie, fam. Every time I saw Kieran tweet, I have notifications on. I'd like it or comment. And I'd just be like, yo, just make sure that my name is constantly there so that like he's aware of it, right? But that's what you have to do, honestly. Like, but do it in like a tactful way. And I think that's the secret. Like, that's the secret, right? Don't do it in like, don't demand their time. I think like do it in a way where you're empathetic, do it in a way where you're tactful, where you're still somewhat adding value. Like, find a way to do that, and I think that's the game. But yeah, man. So I did that, and yeah. So now it's here, and that was essentially the story of how. And a funny little thing, yo. This is a funny thing. And I told Kieran this, and he just lost it. Like, he lost it laughing. So in the interview process, he asked me to do a business case, which is like a document, kind of clarifying what are the strategies, potential strategies that you're trying to do. What's the potential cost, and what's going to bring the best ROI, and what's the strategy that we're going to go with. At the time of the interview, I won't lie, I actually wasn't aware of any of this, but I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. And as soon as the interview was done, I wouldn't even lie, I went on Google, I went on YouTube, what is a business case? And 13 hours later, I wrote an 8-page business case. And that was the thing that kind of got me the job. On Kieran's point. And I told him, I was like, yeah, man, look, I might not know it, but I'm going to figure it out. And he just lost it. He's like, yo, it's hilarious. He's like, yeah, the fact that you gave that to me and it looked solid in like less than a day was mental. But yeah, man, crazy. That was the funniest shit. But yeah, we just laughed. We're like, yo, we made it happen though. Yeah, man. And I'm excited because like Scoriox, we've already talked about plans for influencers and stuff. In chat, actually, this is a good question for chat. In chat, let us know, what would you guys like to see more from influencers? Like, is there a specific thing that you guys would like to see? Would you like to see more collaboration? Would you guys like to see more short form content? Like, what can we do to incentivize? Like I'll think about what we can do, but let me know what you guys want to see. And I'll try to strategize how we can actually incentivize that type of content or things like that. I was just going to
say, yeah, the other thing on the connection side of thing that you're talking about is a proponent that Gary Vee, I think, spouts a lot. He talks about it at length, and I've seen quite a few videos where he's talked to someone, they're like, oh yeah, I've built up all these connections and I'm getting nowhere. No one's letting me do anything and stuff like that. And Gary's like, well, how did you actually do that process? How did you go about it? This person's like, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'll give you this and you give me that and stuff. Gary's like, well, that's not building a connection. That's building a
Yeah.
service, and not everyone
Yeah.
needs a service, right? So Gary's like, yeah, just be friendly to people. Just help them out if you can help them out, or if you want to help them out. And just be friendly to everyone and get involved with everyone and don't want anything in return. And I think he's absolutely right, because his very strong belief is that if you want something in return, it will come out really obviously, and it'll just be known. It'll be so obvious, and it will get nowhere if you're doing things. Because even if you're like, oh, in 2 years I want this in return, if you have that mindset, the way you go about things will be super obvious, and it will never happen, because
Yeah.
you're trying to do something for something in return, which is not a very appropriate way to approach those sorts of scenarios. You want to, if you're helping someone, you want to genuinely help someone.
Yep.
And yeah,
I agree. I'm actually curious. Let's actually like stick on this for a bit again, because it's just me and you. It's more of a casual episode today. Let's stick on this, man. I actually really want to like talk. Yo, Chris, what is Crystal doing, man? Like, Crystal,
contribution
chill.
of friendliness.
Yeah, I mean, chill. I appreciate it, but damn. Yo, do I need to show this every single time? It's a bit wild.
Yes, yes, you do.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about our approaches coming into this, and our mindsets. Like, obviously, we're both heavily inspired by Gary Vee, it seems. I've been following him. Not again, I was like introduced to him and I was hardcore like 7 years ago. And then once I started doing a lot more things, I kind of just didn't have the time to watch unless there's like a thing that I really liked. But I feel like the mindset was already stuck in about like, yo, the hard work, patience, perseverance, kindness, like just offering things and just kind of doing all, like, again, patience. I think patience was the thing that I took the most, like understanding that you're gonna hit some, like you're gonna make some goals, you're gonna miss some. Like, I've got videos that even like shorts, right? Like, I'm going crazy with shorts right now, man. I've got shorts that do like 20 views, and it's like I don't actually think about that at all. It's like, and I don't even know if it's 20 because I really don't think about it. But I just put it out there, and it's on to the next one. It's on to the next one. And I think that's the thing that I've kind of learned from him, because it's like, you're not going to be Kobe on day one. You're not going to be Kobe 6 months in. You're going to be Kobe 13 years in. And if you're too busy kind of worrying about like, oh, but what about the last one? Of course, reflect, and that's how you get better. Like Scoriox, you have helped me a lot with like thumbnails. I think like you're really upped my thumbnail game. Just looking, I had a bit of a look back on like my first 5 thumbnails compared to my latest 5 thumbnails, and I was like, yo, damn, like it's different. And just your tips and tricks about colors and kind of like shading and things like that. So it's good to reflect, but it's not good to like, I know people that have, once they get better in like 3 months, they'll go back and edit the old video thumbnails. I'm like, yo, you don't do that. Like, just redo the video again. Like, make the same content with updated information. Just keep moving forward. So I think that's the biggest take that I got from Gary, and the kindness and everything. But what's the biggest thing for you, man? Like a couple of biggest things for you that inspired you to like that stuck with you.
The thumbnails one's really funny because now you're growing faster than me. So it's like, that's the genuine outcome of not doing something with the plan of getting something in return. Because in a competitive sense, my best interest would have been to leave you in the dirt if I could.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you really got down to it, obviously I don't want to do that. I feel like
of course,
tide rises with all ships more than anything, and maybe that is part of the thing there. But it's interesting, just like the way you think about it sometimes, you know.
Yeah. No, it's so
but
true.
there is one thing in particular that Gary Vee has said before that resonated really, really well with me. And he talked about, he was at a conference once. I haven't actually been following him that long, but I see a bunch of his stuff all the time. He was at a conference one, I believe he was on stage, and someone asked him, oh, how do you make 120 grand a year or something like that? And he's like, with that mindset, it's never going to go anywhere. That's not really important. And he said that happiness has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
And I think why that resonated with me is when I was a lot younger, chasing the dollar was my focus for a long time, and being envious of other people and things like that certainly brought me down quite a bit. So it wasn't ideal. And even now, I'm in a job where I absolutely love going to work every day and doing what I do, and I'm making some awesome stuff, and it's really fulfilling for me. And I earn far less than all my friends.
Mm.
But I've talked to a lot of other people that were in my uni course and things that are working similar jobs as me, earning similar wages and all the stuff like that. And they're all really happy in their jobs too. They found something they were passionate about, just like myself, and we're all really enjoy doing it. And all those other people that I talk to that are earning like big bucks, but are doing things that are maybe a bit boring or they're not super passionate about, and they might move into something they're more passionate about. They all just sound miserable.
Yeah. It's
And
great.
it just,
Happiness is a thing, man. Like people just don't talk about it. Sorry, you're gonna
yeah,
say more.
yeah, and just there's those discussions as well as hearing the way Gary Vee talked about those sorts of scenarios and things made me really change the way I think about stuff. Like,
Mm.
but really, when it comes down to it, I don't actually need that much money. I mean, what I want is a house. A
Yeah.
house actually doesn't relate to money as much as it needs to. I want
Yeah.
a house. Maybe after work eventually until I can buy one, but I want a house. I don't actually want a lot of money, or I want to
Yeah.
work doing something I enjoy. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily want a lot of money. So just trying to get out of that mindset of making as much as you can. And
Mm.
even now, I'm finding just doing what I'm enjoying and being passionate about things like my content creation and stuff I'm starting to reap benefits from it, even without any real intention to do so. So
Yeah.
just live your life and kind of just things will keep happening. Obviously, you have to be strategic sometimes
Yeah.
as much as you can, but it's just one of those things, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm working a
Yeah.
bunch of my own stuff as well, things like an Illuvium app and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited I'm just doing it really like anyone who might see this in the coming weeks. I'm going away on holiday, so I might not deal with it soon. But anyone who might see this thing I'm working on in a couple of weeks, know that when I started making it, the intention was for me to try and get on top of the leaderboard. An app is very easy to monetize, but I started building an app so I could get to the top of the leaderboard with something that I know how to do.
Yeah.
So, that's
Yeah.
really funny.
I think, again, I'm really enjoying. I wish we could have more conversations like this, like personal conversations, like about like what inspires us and stuff. And this is actually something that I've got planned, in regards to influences. There's a like how what's his name, Fenimore and Dick do the trivia. Man, I'm like super mumbling right now. But how Dick and Fenimore do trivia. I really want to organize a couple of like what I'm calling Twitch shows, whereas like they're not just gameplay, but talking about different things. And there's something that I actually had planned for myself, and this isn't confirmed. I'm just going to throw it to them and kind of see what it is. But it was an idea I had for myself where I was going to have these type of deep conversations about mindset, inspirations, for people in the space. And I was actually thinking that and it's so interesting because I usually do the stuff that I say I'm going to do, but this was the one thing that I didn't do that. Like I just was busy and I put it on the back burner. Most things that I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do that, I do it. But for some reason, this was one that I didn't do. I made a thumbnail, I kind of prepped it all, but I just didn't start the process. And at the time, I was like, oh man, that's kind of shit. Why did I do that? But now I've realized maybe again, I'm a big fan of the book The Alchemist. And it's very much like the universe presents you with opportunities and you take those opportunities. If you keep saying no to them, you're gonna start like missing the opportunities that the world gives you, the universe gives you. And so like the idea was like it's called I was gonna be Origins, where it's talking about the origin story of someone essentially. And I was like, man, what if I throw it? Yeah, right. And I was like, what if I throw it to and now I'm thinking about it, it's a great marketing idea. So what if we do it with how like Illuvium is doing Illuva Talks, but what if we do Illuvium Presents Origins? So not only are we like we can get an inside idea on the actual team that's building it, like understanding where their mindset is, getting your Andrews, your Kierans, your Rogers, like understanding how they became masters at that craft.
Yeah, you got Nick and everyone as well.
Correct. So one that builds up like a backstory for the studio. Like right with Apple, we know a couple of guys that kind of built Apple. Wouldn't it be sick for a game studio to actually put a spotlight on like the actual people building this out and sharing the inspiration, like sharing the things that really make someone tick. And then once we're done with that, reaching out to other people in the space, like a Santiago or other really big names developing in the space, a Kane, and kind of understanding like, yo, what's your origin story? Like the way and turn Illuvium not only to the game studio, but like a full-blown media business. a full-blown media business where it's like, all right, we're actually like the same way Illuvium Talks is adding to the conversation in Web3 gaming, we could be adding the conversation into Web3 in general, right? Like a Tom Billieu of Web3, something like that. So exactly. And I know some people don't want to be like super personal about like the way they grew up and stuff. But if we can kind of go more into like, oh, what inspires you? Was there a certain thing that inspired you? How did you come across that? Like things like that. We can kind of finesse it in that way. But that's an idea that I'm really going to push because I would love to do it. And that's again where I'm like, yo, the universe kind of, for some reason, I didn't act on it when I wanted to do it for myself. And now the universe has kind of laid it out in a way where I'm like, oh, this actually might make more sense. Because as like Illuvium, you kind of, it's good to have a product, but it's better to have a story. Like Pokemon doesn't sell because of the game. Pokemon sells because of the narrative. It sells because of the emotion attached to it. And if you can start to connect with these people, you're going to be like just well more like incentivized to get on board with the whole ecosystem and the thing they're trying to build. So that's something.
Do you know the origin? Do you know the origin story of the creator of Pokemon?
Nah, talk to me.
Satoshi Tajiri, I think his name is. I could be wrong. That might be a different member of Pokemon. But I did a decent amount of research on them once upon a time because, I mean, I'm a big fan, right? And really, to put it short, when he was a kid, 5 or 6, he used to collect bugs. And used to collect them all the time before he got home from school and stuff. And none of his friends really liked collecting them with him. So he was, one day he grew up, he's like, he still loved collecting bugs. I think he's still known as like the bug boy or something like that amongst his coworkers and things like that.
Yeah.
And he went and created a game where he could share his joy of collecting bugs with other people. Pretty much, he made it a bit more, a bit less gross to some people. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of bugs myself, but he made it a bit more personal, and everyone. That's just really what it was. It came from his origin story, which a lot of things do, really.
Yeah, 100%. And like something that you mentioned again about like you helping me out and the tide, what is it? A rising tide raises all boats. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to do. And that's why I think, again, I really do feel like I'm perfect for the job. Mainly because one, I am a content creator. I am an influencer, and that word influencer. And second, by the way, guys, I'm not looking too much at chat, but I appreciate you guys. I can see what you guys are doing. Thanks, King Koi. Yeah, I'm not bringing up the chat things. I should, but I'm just having a conversation right now. So it's like I do the content stuff. It's mainly around Illuvium, but it's like what you said, Scoriox. It's even though, yes, you are my competition, Vedimal is my competition, like all these guys in the G, Frobe, a competition, in my mind, it's like, because I don't think of it that way, I'm trying to understand, like, one, I'm trying to build everyone up because what builds you up is going to build me up because we are in that same boat. So in a way, it's like what I'm trying to do is how do I make myself bigger? Because if I can strategize how to do that, I can relay that onto you guys. And if how can I make you guys better? I can relay that back onto myself. So I feel like I've got the perfect, like the fact that I'm so heavily involved in Illuvium prior to this anyway, it's like, cool. It kind of makes sense to do that.
Well, I think while we're on origin stories, I think this brings up a really interesting topic. So when I started content, or about 3 or 4 months in, I started watching Mr. Beast's origin crap like religiously. So like I learned a lot about him and his starting. Mm-hmm. And the big one he always kept talking about was when he started content, he had 4 or 5 guys that he used to call 12 hours a day, and they would discuss everything that they were doing with content every single day, right? And the big part there is obvious, right? If one of them makes a mistake, now, well, they make 5 times more mistakes and then make also 5 times less mistakes because they're copying the mistakes, right? So they're just getting more work done collectively. And I think it's interesting because you're talking about us being all on the same ship. And it's a little bit like that because as Illuvium creators, or even as GameFi creators in particular, the more we work together, the better our content becomes. And then eventually, in theory, our content just becomes higher quality than those in Web 2 or in other areas and things. And then we just overall draw more to our one ship, right? Yeah. So just working together helps. At least the big one is really putting Illuvium on a pedestal in comparison to everything else that's happening in the space. So I think we have some of the strongest content creation, maybe that's because there's so many leaks and things, so there's so much to do on it, and maybe that's just a really great move by Illuvium themselves.
Yeah.
But I feel like Illuvium has more content created on it by more people than any other GameFi project at this moment. But I could be wrong. I mean, we even have 2 websites, like proper, like strong websites from outside people outside of the game.
Yeah. Yo, what's Ricky saying? Jim Barino, yeah, man. Again, I've chatted with you, Jim Barino. I really want you to start pushing. And yeah, what Crystal says is actually so true as well, man. It's like, even though like it's weird, right? Because like it's competition, but at the same time, it's like people that are diehard over a product, over a set, like they're going to look at every video possible about it. So like we're not really fighting over it.
I think I disagree to a degree.
I see the line as well. I get where you come from. Yeah.
I think streaming is a bit different, because if you get this really hardcore streaming time, then if everyone's streaming 12 hours, then you can only really watch one. But you never know.
Correct. Yeah. Once it comes to streaming, it's different because you're going to pick like the person that you want to watch the most. As for like content, pre-recorded content, it's like, yeah, there's not really like too much. And that's something that there's like the whole like Rust thing. It's like, man, you're not oversaturating the market. Like no one knows who you are. It's like, be humble enough to know that. Like your job as an upcoming content creator is to oversaturate the market, to give like people as many possibilities to actually find you. And once they find you, it's like the thing I kind of talked about. I would never watch a stream for 2 hours, but Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not big into watching streams either, but I might get into it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll watch a stream like on the side. Like I won't be paying attention to it as I'm working. I think the truth is, I don't know if I should. Again, I'm just gonna be upfront all the time. I'm like, that's one thing as well. Like now that I'm doing like content and being out there, it's like, man, I sometimes be like, yo, should I censor myself? And then I always come back to it and be like, nah, I'm not going to. I'd rather just be myself, man. It's fine. But I think like for streams, if you're consuming streams, it's more for entertain. Like it's very hard for like a doer to consume streams like that, just because they have things to do. Whereas if you're kind of like chilling out, relaxing, like you're not really like actively doing stuff, you could sit down and watch a stream for 3 hours. Like that's like, I can't even watch a Lord of the Rings. Like the last time I watched Lord of the Rings, I was editing videos while putting it. There's no way I could just sit there for 3 hours. Like that's a complete, in my mind, for me, this is all personal to me, a complete waste of time. As great of a film as Lord of the Rings is, I just can't, like, I feel like I've got way too much shit to do to like spend 3 hours on entertainment and escapism. Like that's like, again, and I get that everyone's in different points in their life. So it's just not something that I can do. So I get the whole stream thing, which is why I like recording videos, because it's like, you can watch a video, but streams are cool if I'm like working on like documents or some like admin stuff. Just having that in the background. And yo, I totally forgot. This just popped back into my mind about like inspirations and stuff. Yo, by the way, guys, in chat, let us know in chat who are some of your biggest inspirations and what's like some key takeaways that you've got. I really want to see this. It's very interesting, like books or artists or just anyone, right? But the thing that you said, Scoriox, about making like 128,000, I'm sure all of you guys know Dave Chappelle, and this was like way back. You guys know Dave Chappelle, right? I'm sure you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave Chappelle is, in my mind, one of the greatest minds of our generation. Like he's just incredible. The way he breaks things down, his storytelling ability, his perception is so like, it's just, in my mind, it's unbelievable. And there was something he said way back, like when he was like 20 or some shit, like young man. And he was like, it was him telling his dad, both his parents are highly educated, and him telling his dad that, yo, he wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And his dad was like, yeah, but you know, like you might not, it's really hard. You might not make it. And this is like a young Dave Chappelle. He's like, yeah, but it depends on what you mean by making it. Like he's like, how much do you make as a teacher, Dad? It's like, oh, whatever the number was. He's like, man, if I make the exact same amount doing stand-up, well, I think I've made it. And that even saying it now gave me goosebumps, because I'm like, that's the thing. It's like everyone is, we're seeing these Drakes and these like big ass people, Logan Paul and Dixie, Charlie D'Amelio and things like that. So like we're expecting like riches and fame and shit like that. Where actually, to be honest, it's like, man, if you can just, like you say, focus on happy, how much money does it actually take for you to be happy? I think that's a question that we all need to ask ourselves. It's like
I think
for a lot of people it's 40, for a lot of people it's 80,000. Like you can survive and have a comfortable life. And if you're doing the shit that you love compared to going into an office where you fucking despise that shit, like man, me going into my current job now, knowing that like I've got this new job lined up with Illuvium, man, that has been a drag. I'm not even gonna lie. Like again, I'm being authentic. Like I love teaching and everything, but I've been doing that shit for 10 years. And it's like, yo, getting out of bed now, like I do it because I have to. In that situation, I beg everyone, explore. Like Gary says, try things, taste things, find out what the fuck that you like, and just try that shit. Because making $40,000 a year or 60,000, whatever the number is that you need, doing what you love, compared to $200,000 doing some shit that you hate, trust me more than the money. Like trust me. Like
I think
it's very
Yeah, I think just extend on that. Making it isn't necessarily monetary, right? Achievements are just as powerful. Probably I'll go into my example and then a good example. My example probably once I interviewed all of the founders of Illuvium and Andrew and everyone. That's probably when I felt like I made it in terms of my content creation. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I want to talk to them. I believe in what they're doing. I believe in everything, and I'm passionate about the project. And the pinnacle of being passionate about the project was getting to know the team, and that was a big part of that. And another good example is probably like scientists and things. They have the Nobel Peace Prize and all that sort of stuff. Or what's the one for scientists? There's a specific one.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. They have
the Nobel Prize of like scientific achievement or some shit like that.
I don't know. They have a bunch of achievements and things. Anyways, scientists don't really make that much money, but their goal is to be the best in their field if that's their goal, and everyone can be the best at something, right? So just like getting there doesn't necessarily mean they're loaded and they're in a mansion. It just means that they were doing what they wanted to do and they got to to where they wanted to be. And
man,
everyone's
talk to us.
End goal is different.
Talk to us. Like we've had the conversation with Andrew about the three things, right? Like the passion, money, and fame. And we've kind of like when we had Andrew on, we couldn't really elaborate on it too much because obviously Andrew was the guest and we wanted to give him the spotlight. But now that it's us two, let's break it down, man. I actually really want to know because we do talk off camera, of course. But I really want to know, like on a more personal level, like talk to us about your perspective on each particular thing. Like where are you at with the money side of things? Where are you at with the fame? Like what is it like? What is it that you want out of money? What is it that you don't care about it? And again, go through each of them. And just share your thoughts on them because I really want to have a look. And like I think the community would love to know as well. And I can share mine after as well. But I think actually going a bit more in depth because now we're talking like on a deeper level. It might be cool just to share that. Like out of the three, so you've kind of said that the thing is emotional fulfillment and fame was for you, right? Yeah. So like talk to us. Like why is it those two? Like what is it about money that? Okay, let's take it this way. What is it about money where you're like, all right, let me put that on the back burner. Let's focus on that one first and then move on to the other two.
Well, honestly, I just want to play Illuvium. I don't really. I just want to help everyone out and play Illuvium. That's all I care about.
But with that, you wouldn't need to make
that
videos.
Damn game to come out, dude. I don't think you guys know that. I've said it in the past about my emotional fulfillment. I love reading the comments and everything. I can feel the sheer anger and just stress in this community right now because the game's not out.
Yeah.
And it pours into me and then I feel it as well. I really do. And that's starting to get really hard, to be honest. I'm starting to really hit those points where it's just it's starting to become a little bit exhausting. Feeling all those community, and I'm sure the Illuvium team's feeling this as well. I know I'm not alone. But feeling all of that pour into me is starting to really tire me out. But I'm glad I'm going on holiday, so that's definitely going to be a big help. But that's starting to make me a bit nauseous, to be honest. If I had to talk about the money side of things,
why is that on the back burner? Like, and there's no reason why it should or shouldn't. But like from your perspective, why is that the least important thing to you?
I just don't need the money right now. I live with my parents, really. I mean, that's
I
mean, that's what it comes down to. I don't need the money at the moment. I live with my parents, so that's what it is. Eventually, I suspect I will need the money, but I feel like there's so much that I'm doing already that I'll be able to push whatever one I want to and figure that out later on. I've even got my newsletter as you know. I've got a couple people that subscribe to that. I got a decent amount that subscribe for free and things like that. But I have a few ideas and now I could push that if I wanted to and get it up to 100, 200 subs, you know, like, but that's, I mean, yeah. So the money isn't super important. I'm just trying to get out as much content as I can for when Illuvium comes out. And if Illuvium, I'm not going to say doesn't blow up the channel, but if Illuvium isn't particularly successful or it doesn't reach the expectations that I think many of us have, then I might need to reevaluate things. And that's just the reality of it. But I truly believe in it. So I'm not really building like a backup plan or anything like that. That doesn't really interest me. If I have to pivot and change, then I have to pivot and change. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I just don't need the money right now. What about you?
Well, yeah. So the money thing for me, like we've had this conversation. You know how much I make, and it's not when I say that it's not like, oh, yo, I make a whole heap. But I think understanding context of me living in China, the cost of living is like super low. Like I've got a solid, a really good apartment, and it's like, man, I was talking to my brother who's in Sydney, and he was saying like he alone has to pay like the amount that I'm paying, and his partner, his girlfriend, needs to pay the same amount. So they're paying double of what I'm paying for a smaller apartment. And I'm like, I'm looking after my household by myself. Like my wife doesn't pay rent at all. It's like, it's just like me is, again, this might be an outdated thing, but for me, it's like, yo, I make the money as a man. Again, this is like an outdated, it might be outdated, but for me, I personally feel like, yo, it's my job to provide. It's my job to create security. So I'm all right with that. And like my finances are fine already. Like the thing is understanding supply and demand. Like a foreign English teacher in China is heavily in demand, and the supply is very limited. So of course the wage that you get, the price you get is super high. And everyone knows I was grinding like crazy. I was doing like, I don't think I can say that online. That's more a thing that I don't want to get in trouble for, but I was just working very, very hard. I was just working very hard. So that's fine. So money wasn't really a thing. And I kind of always knew like that I could make money. Like I always knew that I had the business sense. I had like the kind of personal sense of like, I know how to, not in a bad way, but finesse a situation. I knew how to like, again, get in good with some people. Just because I knew how to like provide value, I could always see how I could always find an angle, is what I'm saying. So I never really cared too much about the money. As long as, and I don't spend money at all. Like a lot of people might say I'm cheap. I think I'm super frugal. Like if you guys watch my videos, I legit wear the same 3 or 4 t-shirts in every single video. I don't spend money at all, man. So for me, it was just like going back to how much do I actually need? Man, honestly, as long as I can pay for food and rent, I don't go shopping. Like I don't go shopping. The only thing that I'm trying to save and invest for really is life experience and traveling. Like I want to just set myself up. So that's the thing that I want to spend money on. And yeah, so that's my relationship with money. But with fame, I think this is an interesting one because I had a conversation with my wife, and you can see Crystal said something up top here as well about avoiding fame. Yeah, avoiding fame, and I think that's interesting, right? Because I think fame is such a controversial topic. It's very like people want to have it, or people think it's the absolute worst. And it was a conversation I had with my wife the other day. I think it was a couple of days ago. And it was crazy to me that she was actually under the impression that I was grinding this hard and doing all of this for fame. Like she actually thought that was my and like and it's different when Andrew says fame. I think when Andrew says fame, it's like attention. It's like getting attention and leveraging that. I think it's very different from fame. But my wife was under the impression that I was doing it to be famous. Like so I would have people look at me and be like, yo, TSG, like that's what she thought I wanted. And I told her, I was like, nah, like that's so wild that you thought of me that way. Cause that's the like not even part of the game. Like the thing that incentivizes me is getting into that conversation with Kieran where he says that, yo, like he thinks that I'm the perfect guy for the job. That's the thing that incentivizes me. Like, yo, having Santiago be cool to come on our podcast twice. You know what I mean? Having these kind of relationships, myself doing a podcast with Annie, who in my mind is one of the most underrated minds in the Web3 space. Like his mind is so insane, like he's insane. And I'm grateful to be able to call him my friend. Like these are the things that I live for, like pumping out content, producing product, working hard, like leveling up my character is the thing that I really like enjoy doing, and that's the goal. And fame is kind of like a byproduct, and it's just like it comes with being super hardworking. It comes with like just doing what I'm trying to do, building this type of character. It's going to come with fame. Like I just can't avoid that. I'm not for or against it. I think it's cool because I believe that I have a positive message to share about like peace, love, like confidence. I think the world is severely lacking in internal confidence. And I feel like I present that in such a way that when I do get famous, or as my fame builds, it's something where I'm trying to like influence the younger generation, especially in positive traits. So for me, fame isn't like I get it how Crystal's like, nah, I don't want it. But I think for people like us, it's kind of inevitable, and it's just now about what are we going to do with it. So that's my take on fame and my relationship. I don't know if you agree. Like, where do you sit on the fame thing?
I see it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
I think fame needs to be broken up.
yeah,
There's two major varieties. There's meaningful fame or attention, and then there's useless fame or attention.
infamy
What
essentially.
yeah, what major celebrities and things have are mostly kind of the junk stuff that I'm not
Mhm.
really interested in and probably will never be. Things like just a lot of people knowing your name and knowing who you are and wanting to know everything about you. It's not that particularly useful. But that being said, even things like the Kardashians and things, their name being recognizable gave them a lot of opportunities in life, and that
Yeah,
is useful fame, right? In our case, if my fame gives me access to talk to the Warwicks and give them my opinion on where I think the game should go, then
Mhm.
that's very meaningful. I mean, the
Yeah,
community is the one that's building me up to allow me to voice my opinion a bit louder. And I
yeah.
feel like I have something to add. So I feel like that's meaningful.
Mhm.
The other side of it is you look at Mr. Beast, and I feel like he's got this really interesting one.
Yeah.
He's got this zone in there where he's at like peak like A-list fame in my opinion, but
Mhm.
all of it is meaningful. He's got a lot there. Some good examples are lately some of the other large content creators have been building him stuff just for himself. Someone built him an Iron Man suit and someone gave him a lightsaber. I think being at the point where people want to help you out and give you stuff, even if it's just to build themselves up or whatever they want to do,
Yeah.
having those being famous in a way that gives you meaningful connections and that those important connections can have like I don't really care if I had $10 billion. I want a lightsaber more. If I had to choose one, I would choose a lightsaber every day of the week. I mean, $10 billion
I
can
take
buy
the
you a
10 milli. I'll take the 10 milli for sure.
10 bill might be able to buy you a lightsaber, but 10 bill won't buy you access to every person that can build that for you.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like that's how I see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think again, it's very interesting. I think with fame now, again, it goes back to the whole like Dave Chappelle, like, what does making it really mean, right? It's like fame back in the day was like a Will Smith, where everyone in the world knew your name, or a David Beckham. Whereas now it's like a Mr. Beast. If I go to ask my mom who Mr. Beast is, man, she's not gonna know. And it's like it's a fascinating thing how this whole thing is playing out. But yo, let's I was gonna say, let's hit Mark's question. And we can start to move on because as much as I like, man, again, I'd love to have more of these personal chats essentially. But what happened with the Illuvitar sale? They said this shit was done months ago. What actually happened? Yeah, so they switched up the they're moving to layer 2. So originally the original plan was layer 1 sale and then layer 2 mint. And now they've essentially revamped the entire process. So it's not going to be 5 crates, is what they were called before, tier 1 to tier 5 crates. It's just going to be in 2 discs, a basic disc and an ultra disc, just how they're going to be sold. And it's going to be completely layer 2. So way better on gas, pretty much no gas. It's not going to be any gas. So you'll need to pay gas to input your funds onto. You could easily sell the lightsaber for 20 mil. So you could you'll need to put your ETH on the IMX wallet, so that transaction will involve gas. But once you're on there, it's no gas. So yeah, they're revamping it. It's the pushback is done for the better. And actually, I believe Aaron, oh man, I hope I'm not saying anything internal. I think it's public. I think it's public knowledge. Aaron did mention that they're adding more Illuvatars. I haven't spent too much time.
Crystal,
Yeah,
Crystal
cool.
told me that. I haven't seen the tweet, but Crystal told me
Awesome.
that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm trying to find the balance now of what's internal and what's not. And I don't spend as much time on Discord just because I'm a little bit busy. But yeah, so it's actually going to be way more beneficial, man. Trust me, it's going to be cheaper. The product that they're selling out now is way better. None of this financial advice. Of the basic discs coming with one Illuvatar and one tier 0, and then 3 accessories. I'm going off this at the top of my head. And then the Ultra Disc is going to be 1 tier 3 Illuvatar or above, 3 accessories, and then there's one more slot, which could be
They haven't
rare.
confirmed. They haven't confirmed.
They haven't confirmed it. But as far as we know, potentially like it could be any Illuvatar or any accessory or another rare, like tier 3 and above Illuvatar or accessory.
In the graphic, it looks like it has to be an Illuvatar, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, so it could be what? So basic is 2 Illuvatars and 3 accessories. Ultra Disc is potentially 2 Illuvatars or 2 Illuvatars and 3 accessories, or 1 Illuvatar and 4 accessories, but with just higher tiers. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah. So the one thing you missed is the album. So a big reason in my understanding it's been pushed back. The sun's just hit my face. A big reason in my understanding it's been pushed back is we actually took it to a community vote. We said albums aren't ready. Do we want albums to be ready on release, or do we not want it to be ready on release? And the community overwhelmingly voted for albums. Unfortunately, that doesn't come with a timeline, which is a shame, but it is what it is. But basically, it's my understanding that the layer 2 stuff, I think, is mostly sorted. I don't know. You probably know better than that. But it's my understanding that once albums are ready, should be ready to announce it. But we'll need some time for marketing too, so it won't be instant or anything. But
I think this is public knowledge. I won't say exactly what's coming when, but yeah, he's just gonna be holding it up. Yeah, like, so we know that there's a lot coming out. I think Aaron's going to be working on his dev blog, so we'll kind of see. Previously, we kind of got the flow of what's going to be coming out. And so if we understand that, it's like, think about it from a marketing perspective. You can't have Illuvatars and Illuvium 0 coming out in the same week. That makes no sense. You kind of need to space it out to kind of build up the marketing campaign. Even for us as content creators, imagine if like myself and Scoriox were both trying to scramble around, do like Illuvatars today and Illuvium 0 tomorrow. That doesn't make sense. But a full week or 2 weeks of Illuvatar hype and then 2 weeks of Illuvium 0 hype, kind of we can build up and then go down. Like, think about it as a roller coaster. Essentially, marketing is that. It's you're building it up for the product launch, going, and then everyone comes down, they experience it. And then when they get to the bottom, you're releasing the next product, building it up. And that's the flow that we're trying to build out here. Yeah, Cooker's Cave. Yeah, but what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on waiting, Scoriox? Have we shared that, like, on the Illuvatars?
I don't know. I just want crap to come out, to be honest.
Yeah. I think that's the sentiment for sure. What's
I'm
your take on
it.
Kieran? What's your take on Kieran going crazy the other day?
What do you mean?
You didn't see that in Discord?
What, all the hype stuff?
Yeah.
I needed to scroll back a bit. My computer was being buggy. I haven't actually read most of them, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. No, he went crazy. He did the same thing when he first played private beta.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's why. Like, you guys aren't ready.
yeah, but that actually made me nervous, because the first time he did that, and nowadays he's being a bit more honest. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't have everything yet. I mean, it looks amazing and everything, but it doesn't have all the content yet. And I'm like, well, is this going to be the same thing? No, I don't expect it to, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, but like, again, like, you have to think about it from his point of view, right? And this is where empathy comes in. It's like, man, this is a dude with his brothers who have wanted to build a game forever, and they ideated the game in their mind. Like, there was nothing physical about it. They ideated this game, and now he's playing it, and it's real. Like, he's doing the stuff that he wants to do. It might not be perfect, but like, understanding it from his perspective, it's like, man, this is an idea. Like, not only did they build it, like, they had to build the team, they had to build the network. That's it. Like, all of their life experience essentially led to this product that they're playing now, which is insane. So I get it. Like, even if it's not 100%, It's I understand where he's coming from 100%. Can't
Have
wait
you
for
have you
TSG to
played
leak a bunch of shit. That's not gonna happen, man.
have you played PB2? Do you have you?
I tested out a build last night. Yes, I tested
Do you
out a
want
build last night.
do you want to hype us up for it?
uh, a lot is changing. I'll say that again. I'm not trying to be the hype man. But a lot is changing. It'll take some time. Like the new Illuvials, it's gonna be cool. And I'm honestly really excited. The UI, everything that's changed. Obviously we saw Chris. Oh man, let me bring that up. I think Chris put out
Like a list.
a list of all the stuff that's
Yeah,
changing.
I've
Yeah.
seen it.
So what he's saying. All right, let me open this up. Hold up. Give me a sec, guys. This is all you can tell that this is live.
Someone asked before. It was Silent Sage. How many? He asked, how many guys do you think? Do we think we'll have over or under 1 million players at least? I think we'll smash it. To be honest,
At least, like, is there a time frame for that?
like on launch, like I'm talking like first week, I reckon.
On launch. So we have different takes on this, right? Obviously. So this is the shit that's changing. Like there's 45 augments. Augments are trippy, man. That's gonna take some time getting used to. Checkpoints are sick. More than double the alluvials. Yeah, a lot. I'm pretty sure this is common knowledge, but a lot of the lynxes and stuff like that. Training mode runs for that's awesome. So we can actually have a proper competitive mode. Interest. I don't know if I saw the interest or not. The UI for equipping that looks cool as well. I don't think we've seen that yet. So it's cool. It's cool. There's a lot that's happening, and there's a lot to look forward to there. So again, we've had this conversation. I might rename this this chat, this video online, because we're not really talking about the topic we were coming into, but it's fine. Because your thoughts are we're definitely gonna get 1 million. Like that's where you stand. Like on launch.
Yeah, I think.
Like back it up. Like
I think
why?
I think a lot of people underestimate word of mouth.
Hmm.
I think that's worth knowing. Also, at this point, I think we could see it coincide with bullish momentum in crypto in general.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like starting mid 2023 onwards, I hope we launch way before then. But I think sometime in 23 the bull run will begin, even if it's December. But I think sometime in 2023. So I think we're going to have a lot of things going right by the time of launch, because I think actually here's a better way to say it. I think we're going to bottom before launch. I think we're going to bottom before launch. That's the big one, really. I think word of mouth is underrated. I think once people are getting onto it in the crypto space, really that's how people found Axie. It was all word of mouth. It was people going, "Oh, I can make a ton of money. Get onto this."
But the other thing is here, we're not incentivizing. Like the thing with us is we're not incentivizing making money. We're making a crazy game.
Sure we are. You can make money with tier zeros. They don't need much to make money. I think tier zero is going to draw in a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing that some people seem to forget is that there are a lot of ecosystems being built around Illuvium. It's not just Illuvium. Many other games have been very on their own.
That's the exciting thing.
And there's a lot of other people building. We've got things like Arcade, which is going to facilitate a lot of stuff. Palameris is building things. Illuvium has also helped a lot of other games. So they're all going to help promote it, I reckon. It's going to be interesting.
Because I think you're right. I think a lot of these big projects that are building the infrastructure is going to be pushing Illuvium, because Illuvium, like I don't really care what anyone says. Like objectively, I say it's in my mind, but then that's not objective. But I think objectively, Illuvium is the best built product in the space right now, regarding what it's doing. Like nothing even compares to it. Especially like in the time frame that we're looking at. Like there's no real competition. So I believe like you're saying, like Arcade, Palamos, all of these guys that yes, they might be covering a few other things. Once Illuvium does drop, it does look like the majority of their attention is going to be pushing to Illuvium, because that is the product that they want people to get into.
I think the other thing, and this one's a bit of a hot take and just my personal opinion, but every second Pokemon game is garbage. So the game launching in November
It's going to be
is going to
trash.
be trash. And then if Illuvium launches at a similar time or just after,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of ability in grabbing Web 2 creators
Yeah.
and paying them to shill us and stuff as well. I think that'll be funny.
That's I see, and that's my job, right? That's where I come in. And it's definitely a thing where it's like, all right, do we pay them? Do we incentivize them in other ways? That's the shit that I need to strategize. Whether it's like competitions, whether it's like offering a crazy prize, like these are none of this is confirmed. These are just things that I'm trying to strategize and how can I make these things happen? And when do I make these things happen? Because I think that's super important because we don't want like the worst thing we could do as a company, as a studio is bring people in, like you say, like the tension is high, bring people in, get them excited as hell about the product, and then make them wait. Like Web2 gamers don't want to wait. Web3 gamers, we understand, Web3 people in general, we understand things take time, building in a bear market. This is shit that we know. Like if you say building in a bear market to a Web2 gamer, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. They're gonna be like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like what the fuck? I don't know if you've seen like the Kobe Bryant Kanye West thing where he's like, yo, you need to be the beast and the monster or some shit. And Kanye just looks at him like, what the fuck does that even mean, Kobe? Like, and that's what they'd say. If we say shit like building in a bear market, like oh, just wait. Like they just gonna be like, yo, fuck you guys. So timing is super important there, and that's something that I'm really, really aware of. And yo, something. Oh yeah, go.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I think it's interesting. Even a lot of the Pokemon content creators, they've done one of two things. They've either started their own projects and they're pushing them, and I've seen a few of them doing that now, or they've become more general content, Nintendo content creators instead, because they're just losing the fire to Pokemon. It is abandoned.
You know what's crazy about Pokemon?
It has abandoned its older fans so much that they're going to suffer in these next 10 years, I think.
It's insane. Unless they level the fuck up, nah, it's donezo, man. Like, if for the gaming side of Pokemon, it's donezo. Like,
and they don't put much effort into the game, but the game does propel their franchise more. Without it, you can't introduce new Pokemon.
Yeah. But yo, you know what? Do you know what? Like, this is crazy. So I was doing a bit of research on like which market we should be targeting again because this is my job now. And I was like, all right, so our two main gaming targets, Web2 gaming targets, obviously are going to be Teamfight Tactics and Pokemon. Fan, do you know that Teamfight Tactics, one being on mobile, and I think this is super interesting about the mobile thing that's being discussed in chat right now. And I agree. I think Overworld and Auto Battle must come to mobile at some point. They must. But man, so Teamfight Tactics that's on mobile has generally roughly about 8 to 10 million live 8 to 10 million players every day, and Pokemon is barely that. If you go on Twitch right now and search up Teamfight Tactics, there should be an average of about 25 to 30,000 viewers, live viewers right now. If you search up Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is the active competitive Pokemon game, 2,000. Like that's fucking laughable.
It's interesting because Sword and Shield's Pokemon loses retention rather quickly because it's a lot older. But really, Teamfight Tactics is pretty old too, so it's very telling.
And actually, yo, let's because my meeting got canceled. So I mean, if you're down to talk, let's talk. Let's go into that, right? What is going to kind of keep like the retention of players? Because we see now that people come into games, they come in, they play for a bit, they leave. Pokemon is crazy. Like, I think the Pokemon brand has the retention factor, but the games do not. So why is that? Like, what is it in those games that aren't working, and what do we need to have happen? Like, we've had Andrew kind of mentioned the four core principles of what is it? It needs to be constantly updated. It can be modded. It's competitive and PvP. And what's the last one? Or you can like role play or some kind of lore there. So like with that, what do you think that Pokemon just doesn't have there?
I think
it doesn't. Yeah.
I think they fell behind. Jim Barino put it really well. They failed to innovate. I think in my head, it's really interesting. When you first played Pokemon, it was the first of its kind. Let's put it that way. The other side of that was even with the anime and stuff, people went, oh shit, I wish we could do that in real life. And you can see from Pokemon Go's success, that is still what people want.
Of course,
right?
man.
That's still what people are after. but Pokemon couldn't care less. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
And then you've got things like Monster Hunter World. I think Monster Hunter is one of the most underrated franchises. It's got a really good systems and loops in it, but
Yeah.
it's stuck on the Nintendo consoles, which is a problem for any game.
It's on PC now, right?
No, just the one, just Monster Hunter World.
Right.
They might have some newer ones might have been, but Monster Hunter World was the big one.
Yeah, and Monster Hunter was on like PlayStation back in the day and shit as well. I know. Like,
yes, no, it was on the. I played it on the Wii. It might have been on PlayStation.
I played it on the first one I played was on PSP. I don't know if anyone remembers what the fuck that was.
But yeah, Monster Hunter World got like more like players than like any game ever, and this was like a new game because it had never been on these consoles before.
Yeah.
I think Pokemon's lost it because they haven't been able to capture the Pokemon Go thing truly. People, I mean, walking around outside is a novelty, right? You're not actually doing anything interesting. You're not walking beside your Pokemon. You're not feeding it, that sort of stuff. I think people want a Pokemon sim. And I hope Illuvium doesn't take too long to get there.
Yeah.
It'd be nice because even World of Warcraft has done a good job with it, but it hasn't quite gotten there.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing with World of Warcraft is this: with any MMO or World of Warcraft in particular, the bigger you make it, the harder it is to actually innovate, right?
Yeah.
Because how I see it is this: if you want to add the ability for people to sit on any creature in the world, or if you want to add the ability to feed any creature in the world, you have to create an animation for everything you've already built for feeding. You know what I mean? Like that's a really simple way of putting it.
Yeah.
But something like that that's already big is a bit hard to push there.
Yeah.
And I'd argue maybe they don't have the money for it. The biggest thing in crypto is the money, right?
Yeah.
Crypto has enabled funding like nothing else in this world. And when it gets regulated, some of that might change. But at the moment, that is the only reason Illuvium could produce as fast as it could.
Yeah.
It was facilitated by crypto. So
yeah,
what I'm hoping is it doesn't take them too long to get to your Monster Hunter Pokemon combination.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit that, you win. If you can pull that off, it's over. That's what people truly want. That's why Pokemon's the biggest media franchise in the world. They watch the anime and they want this world where you can walk around with a field mouse that's shooting electric out of its fucking asshole or whatever.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people don't actually know this, and it's quite wild. But like the overworld that we've seen right now about like the encounters and shit, that's just a placeholder. Like that's not the final thing. And I think a lot of people don't know this. They think that, and I won't lie, for the longest time, even as a content creator, I thought that it's just like this is how we do it, right? But essentially, that's not what they want to do. They're borrowing the Auto Battler until they actually get these Illuvials into the world and actually like a Monster Hunter type of vibe where there's like a live action kind of thing going on. So once we get to that point, and that's going to be like the game. That's the game that they launch, not the open beta. That's going to be the game that they want to launch at least. So I think, like you say, that game, and that's why I get Kieran's hype, man, about he was like, yo, what the fuck is this new genre? Man, like, and I said it in my reply to him on that tweet was like, we talk about the metaverse and shit a lot in this space, but in my mind, this is going to be the first actual case of a metaverse where you've got a game that is Illuvium Zero, where it's land, and the assets in this are actually needed in this other game, where you go out into the overworld and you capture these monster alluvials that are assets, which you then move into another game. And it's like, and you own everything in this. Like you own all like the assets while all of this is moving. And to me, you're building out a fucking country. You're building out a universe. Like you're building out this entire economy. And we've never really seen it done on this level in a game before. Like, yeah, you can see people like buying items and selling it on Warcraft and things like that. We've seen marketplaces before, but never with anything like this, where it's like interoperable between games. We're gonna have a Mario Kart, an alluvial kart racing game, things like that. So it's gonna be crazy. Sorry, I just saw. It's crazy how our mind works like that. I saw the word "I disagree," and I was like, "Yo, what do you disagree with?" Let me see this. Let me read this. I would disagree that it's about one game or one genre. You want retention in your brand. You want fans to play one game. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that, and actually, that's something that I'm going to be talking to the team about as well, about ideas that I have about that. I think
I
emotional connection
disagree.
is important.
I
You
disagree.
disagree? Crazy.
I don't see it that way. I see it a bit differently. Everyone has a different preference, and the only way to get every single gamer is to have every single genre. But I
That's
don't
very
think that multiple genres retains a player. I know a lot of people that are into racing games and things. I can't stand them. They're boring as hell to me.
yeah. I think
But
I think he's talking more about like not the genre that's necessary or the game that creates retention. It's the brand that creates retention, which is
yeah,
why like a Pokemon is like the brand is what creates retention. Like fuck the games.
yeah. Even like Pokemon, the one good thing they did is when they introduced Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Home, and you could carry over your older Pokemon into future generations. They missed a beat a little bit because there wasn't much of a story. But then again, in the older games, they didn't know that they were going to be doing this necessarily. But dragging that story along with you is really powerful. Like you found this alluvial here, and you nicknamed it and stuff like that. You know, like and like you go like, oh yeah, and you go into this competition in a world competition 5 years down the road. You're like, this is the Ramfire I caught the second day I played the game, or Rampy that I caught that I evolved or whatever.
Yeah. I think having and again, what you're saying now, essentially, to like the core of it, is emotional connection, and that's what I was talking to. I forget who I was talking to about it, but this is I was talking to Porter, the merchandise, the guy, the head of merchandising, and we were saying that like for a brand, it doesn't like I shouldn't say this, but like it doesn't matter what the product is. Of course, it matters, but I think the key thing is actually not the product itself, but and it's so true. The more I'm saying it now, the more I'm realizing it's true. Like a Nike shoe is not the highest quality product, but that swoosh has an emotional connection with people. Yo, that was a symbol of hip hop back in the day. That's a symbol of cool. The emotional connection with that brand is what sells the product. And I think as Illuvium, we need to focus on making it a fucking killer product. But at the same time, we need to start like, and I'm sure they've already started, but we need to, I'll say this, we need to start to thinking or developing more ways to build that emotional connection to Illuvium. And it can't just be, oh, we like the game. It can't be that. It needs to be something about, yo, I'm attached to this. I'm attached to this alluvial. I'm attached to this concept. I'm attached to this like philosophy. These are the kind of unique identities that Illuvium needs to like really focus and double down on, which is why going back to the exactly what Jimbrino was saying, which is why exactly I think what Andrew was doing with the Illuvium Talks is genius, which is why I think my idea of the origins kind of chat is genius, because building Illuvium as this actual media mogul as that has a gaming product is one of those ways that we do that. And I've got other ways that I'm thinking of as well. I've got an idea that I know is 100% going to work, but we just need to put the resources there. And actually, yo, dead set, I'm gonna share this idea now because it's just an idea and I haven't told anyone about it. Let me know in chat what you guys think. And if you guys say some good shit, I'm gonna screenshot this shit and show it to these guys and be like, yo, trust me, I know this is the shit. Like, did you not try? Like, I'm so aware that this is the way that we need to fucking go. Like, I'm dead set about it. Like, you watch the did you see that little clip of like that half-baked rendering of Archie climbing up the cliff?
We discussed this the other day.
Yeah. And it's like, yo, what we need to do is make higher quality ones of these, like even 5-second snippets, showcasing the characteristics, and it doesn't have to be the lore of and we were talking about it in the meeting, the influence meeting. And I was thinking about it, I was like, yo, we need to like stop and like actually start building this out and do like 5 to 10-second snippets of just characteristics, not show like telling the lore or the story to keep Aaron happy, but building characteristics around these alluvials and like little mini kind of fun things so that people can actually connect to them, so they can have the side up moment of, yo, I like this guy, he's confused. Or the aggressive people, yo, Rampy's a bit of a bully. I like that. Like, I don't know who likes a bully, but I mean, you get the concept. I think building out this kind of characteristics of these alluvials is super, super important so that we actually get attached to them emotionally as like, and like what I was saying, it's hard for someone to get, or it's not hard, but it's more probable that someone's going to be attached to 150, at least one out of 150 alluvials from the characteristic point of view compared to the Illuvium brand, because that's just one thing you either agree or disagree, compared to you now have 150 chances of like connecting to someone or connecting to an alluvial on an emotional level. So it's just setting, again, the same way as content. If you put out one amazing video, cool. If you put out 150 great videos, you're just probably going to be better off. Like, you can do one amazing or 150 great or good. In my mind, I think 150 good is going to win than the one amazing video, in my mind.
I think I agree, but the problem is that that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work that they haven't done yet.
And that's the thing where I'm like, it's going to be, I don't know how, like the resources it's going to take, but I know it's fucking necessary. At some point, it is necessary.
I think you can leave that for the Netflix series to kick off, though.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I think we need to do that before that. Because again, like if no one knows what Illuvium is, why the fuck would they click it? But they see some like viral snippets on the internet of like just little things. It's like, oh, I remember that. Let me check that out. Because it's like, imagine this. It's like, would you be more incentivized to watch a movie that's coming out? Think about it like this, right? Would you be more incentivized to watch a movie that's coming out with an actor that you've never ever seen, or Leonardo DiCaprio, or an upcoming actor that you've kind of seen snippets of, or like a stand-up comedian? Would you click and sit through an hour of a stand-up comedian special, or that you don't know, or would you click on someone that you've seen like snippets of online, be like, I recognize him? What would you do? And I think if you answer that question, you know what the answer is. Yeah,
definitely. All right, well, I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, we went a bit longer. We didn't even get to the point that we wanted to talk, but fuck it. I actually enjoyed this shit.
Next time.
Appreciate you guys. Yo, to let us know what you guys think about this kind of format. Do you guys always want us to have guests? We're thinking that we can do this every kind of like couple of weeks. Can you ask them to give you beta invites? Yeah, chill. Thanks for the content. Yo, let me see some of this. Did I miss anything? Brilliant idea. If we get content from the team that are cutscene quality that gives us that'd be huge. Yep, pretty much what I'm saying.
Yeah, Overwatch did a good job of that. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, guys. Like I said, we're gonna try to do more of this content if you guys are cool with just me and Scoriox kind of sharing our opinions on things. I think it might be cool once in a while just to share our thoughts and our feelings on updates and things like that. Scoriox.
Next time, maybe we'll poll them beforehand as well.
Of what they want us to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Rarely do guests silence. Yo, rarely do guests. They just want to see us. Crazy. All right. Awesome, guys. Yo, I appreciate you guys. Scoriox, do you want to kind of say anything to close out?
Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for all the donations too. I think it was just Crystal today. But
Crystal.
Thanks heaps. Thanks for the support though. That's really the big one, right?
Yeah. Again, honestly, appreciate you guys, man. Like, again, we're working hard. Obviously, Scoriox is doing crazy shit with content. I am now internal, so that's a whole different thing. And honestly, we're gonna go fucking crazy just pumping both of our shit and everyone else's.
Yeah. Just quickly, for those of you that don't know yet, I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks. I'll be in Augment next week. I'll be at Oz CryptoCon. That's where it starts. So I'll walk around. I'll go say hi to Andrew and stuff too. That'll be a lot of fun.
We have no idea how the quality is going to be. We have no idea how the quality is going to be or the logistics behind that. But we'll figure that out.
But yeah, besides that, I'll be mostly disappeared. I need some time away. But I say that, but I've actually queued up like 7 or 8 videos. So don't worry, the content's still coming. I just won't be around.
Yeah. But that just means I need to start making these 7 or 8 videos as well, man. Fucking hell.
I don't think it's that many. I don't think it's that many, but I've got some stuff happening. It's good.
All right. All good, man. Yo, Jason, Scoriox, appreciate you, fam. Honestly,
yeah, you too.
I actually really enjoyed this conversation. And again, I'd love to get more personal shit. Yeah.
Actually, on that, don't release PB2 or Illuvium 0 till I get back.
Yeah, I'll make sure I don't hit the release button because it's all on me. It's all on me now.
Yes,
so
that's
I'll
important.
I'll make sure.
All
right, guys.
Wait, do you know if Illuvium 0 will have the renting function instantly?
The renting function? I don't know. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Find that out. It's all right. I'm bringing my ledger anyways.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think we can ask Nick about that one. He'll probably know better than I do because again, I have more influence stuff. Yeah. All right.
All right.
All good, guys. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys for
everyone.
watching. And yeah, all right. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.